Welcome to No Place Like Home, the radio show coming to you on WRXB 1590 AM and Pinellas County Connection TV. This program is presented to you as an opportunity to hear information that can help you fulfill the dream of owning your very own home. We also share information about upcoming special events and programs to help you enjoy the good life in Pinellas County, as well as other items of interest. The sponsor of this program is the Housing Finance Authority of Pinellas County, which offers the First-Time Home Buyers Program. I'm Carmen Limberg alongside Julian Hills, your host for today's show. Good morning, Julian. How are you today?
'Tis the season to be jolly.
Yes, it is.
I can't believe it's already December.
I know. Where did the time go this year?
Oh, it flew by.
It sure did.
I have to tell you, it's my favorite time of the year.
Oh, you know it's mine too, so.
Well, actually, my favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. I'm still recovering. I ate too much.
Well, you know, I think we all kind of overindulge from Thanksgiving through New Year's, really.
Well, speaking of which, if you want to overindulge in some holiday cheer, I'd suggest, if you haven't already, to go down to the Botanical Gardens for the holiday lights.
Oh, they're so awesome.
It's so beautiful. It's every night at the Botanical Gardens at 12520 Ulmerton Road in Largo. The lights are beautiful. It's from 5:30 to 9:30, and it runs through December 31st, so there's no excuse to miss it.
There is none whatsoever. Sometimes they even have people that are playing musical instruments wandering around there. It is
Santa Claus will be there.
Santa Claus.
I know.
I gotta go.
You better be good so you can get what you want for Christmas.
I'm always good. Come on.
Speaking of getting what you want, you have some good information for anyone who wants to buy a home, right?
I sure do. Thank you. The Housing Finance Authority of Pinellas County is offering the First-Time Homebuyers Program, your key to home ownership, helping people in Pinellas, Pasco, and Polk County make their dreams of home ownership a reality. The First-Time Homebuyers Program is for individuals who have never owned a home, have not owned a home in the last 3 years, or veterans. The HFA offers a low rate on its 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, and if you need a little help with down payment and closing costs, we can help you with that too. To get your key to home ownership, visit www.pinellascounty.org/HFA as in Housing Finance Authority. On the right-hand side of the page, there's pictures. The top one says First-Time Home Buyers, What to Know. Look through that and you'll be on your road to owning your own home. For more information or comments about the show, call us at 727-223-6419 or email newhome@pinellashfa.com. I also wanted to let you know about another opportunity for down payment assistance and closing costs. Pinellas County Community Development is just announcing that they are having their down payment increased up to $20,000. Wow. Yes, it's incredible. It's going to be an interest-free second mortgage. For more information, you can call them at 727-464-8210. Julian?
There's no better gift than $20,000, right?
That's exactly it.
Well, speaking of holidays, today we're talking about pet safety and adopting pets during the holiday season.
It's always a hot topic.
I know. With so much going on during the holidays, we can sometimes forget our pets and how decorations, extra people in and out of our homes can affect our pets and their safety. This is also the time of year when people bring new furry members into their homes. There's so much to think about when deciding to add a pet to your household. We'll get into the specifics in just a moment, but first I'd like to introduce our guests. Rusty Walker is our first guest. He's a program manager with Pinellas County Animal Services and has been with Animal Services for 12 years. He's responsible for all facility-related issues, including security and permitting. He manages a staff of 10 that cares for all the animals in the facility and is responsible for maintaining the highest level of care and sanitation. Our second guest is Casey Miller. She's the Adoption Rescue Foster Coordinator for Animal Services and has been with them for a year. She's responsible for placing adoptable animals with forever-loving homes. She achieves this by reaching out to local partners and participating in adoption events. She builds new partnerships with rescues and foster parents. That's crucial for animal well-being. So I'd like to welcome Casey and Rusty to No Place Like Home.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks for being here. So I wanted to start with you, Casey. Tell us briefly how the adoption process works and if during the holidays you're offering any incentives to people looking for pets.
So how our adoption process works is you come into the shelter and you actually can go free walk our adoptions. You get to take any animal out that you wish to. You can actually take them out into our doggy parks. So you get to go out there and spend time with them, spend time with your family out there, and make sure they're a good fit with you and your family. As far as incentives during the holiday season, we really want to make sure people think about adopting an animal before they come in and just do a spur of the moment. We do Santa pictures in December with people adopting new animals. The picture is free if you adopt from us, or you can bring your furry members in, and there's a small fee to have your picture done with Santa.
Santa's everywhere.
He's busy.
Yeah. But it's awesome. So, Casey, what advice do you have for people who are looking to add a new pet to their household?
You really need to make sure that the pet matches your family's lifestyle. Do you want a laid-back pet? Do you want something that's hyperactive that can go running with you, go to the park? Do you have a lot of time for a new puppy? Or you just need a furry member? Maybe you want to get an older senior pet that can just lounge around the house with you on the weekend. So it's just really matching your lifestyle with the new pet that you want to bring into your home.
Do you have staff available to help people with this, that they can talk to them about the different animals and stuff?
So yes, we do. We have a staff of 8 customer service representatives up front that can answer any questions about the animals that you may have. We also labeled all animals' energetic levels on their cards. So if you just want to go out and figure it out for yourself, you can see everyone's labeled by their energy level. So you can also take them out and see if their energy matches what you're looking for. And then we have a great foundation of volunteers that really spends time with a lot of the animals that can answer a lot of questions as well.
Wow, that's great. Rusty, for those adopting during the holiday season, what advice do you have for them regarding safeguarding their new addition?
Well, what you want to consider is the heightened levels of stress the animal is going to incur with having new people in the house. A lot of people have a family come in town and stay with them. So you want to consider that. You want to consider possibly even crating your dog. A lot of people during holiday seasons will board their dogs to eliminate that level of stress. But if you're going to keep the dog or cat in the home, you want to consider crating them, having them possibly in a room where the door's going to be open, the front door, constantly, so you don't want the animal escaping. But yeah, you definitely want to look out for the heightened level of stress with the animals, with new folks coming in the house.
I know
kids.
My cat, he just runs and hides. He just is under the bed all the time.
That's what mine does. Absolutely.
Well, one of the things I kind of picked up in this conversation when Casey was mentioning, when people adopt pets and they adopt them at different stages of their lives, it just occurred to me that they probably have different needs. A puppy might have different needs than maybe an older dog. So just following up with you, Rusty, what should people think about as far as safety for pets that are already in their homes as people coming out this holiday season?
For what? For folks coming over?
Yeah, just different things like people come in and out and new toys are in the house and all this different activities. Like, what should people think about?
Yeah, you definitely want to consider size-appropriate toys. So depending on, if you get a puppy, if you get an adult dog, you want to consider things that are laying around the house at all times. With my dog in particular, I have a yellow lab. So I have learned that socks cannot be left out because they like to eat socks. So you got to be mindful of what's out, with decorations and so on. You still got to be mindful with that as well.
Oh, and the tail action.
Yeah, it will clear your table.
I had a black lab blended dog for a while, and his tail was just wild, and I always had took out the table, and then I always had to watch him around the tree too, because that tail would clear the whole bottom section of the tree. And had another dog who liked to pop my glass ornaments. So,
well, something else that made me think about as you talked about like toys and socks and ornaments is, people have holiday parties and there's always all types of food
everywhere.
Yes. And, there's always a dog in your face begging and all these things. So
cats too.
It's the cats too. Yes, you're absolutely right. So I'm thinking like the natural sort of reaction is you want to feed the animal. Are there foods that probably aren't good for pets?
Absolutely. Chocolate being up there. As far as dogs, in large amounts, chocolate can potentially be deadly. Also, sugar-free gum, coffee. There's a list of different food items that can potentially be extremely harmful to your pets. There's certain ingredients in chocolates and sugar-free gum and coffee that are extremely toxic at higher levels.
Oh, wow.
I also think if you had a hyper animal and it got hold of your coffee, woo, baby.
Yep, that wouldn't be good.
I had a cat who used to like to drink coffee in the morning with me. She was pretty funny.
Wow.
So, Casey, what's the most adopted pet type during the holidays?
It goes back and forth between puppies and older dogs. A lot of people come into the shelter and have a soft spot for the older dogs that have been there or the ones that have been there for a long time. I mean, we have some animals that have been there 100 days or more. Oh, wow. So a lot of people come in during the holidays and want to target those specific animals. That goes for our cats as well. Long time for our cat would be maybe 2 to 3 weeks. If our cats last longer than that, that is a long time considered for our cats. And people want to come in and make those animals have a home for the holidays.
Oh, that's good. And hopefully keep them after the holidays.
That's our main goal.
So we've talked briefly about adopting the older pet. What other advantages to adopting older pets versus a younger pet are there?
So usually adopting older pets, you're adopting a little couch potato that can sit and relax with you on the weekends. You don't need to get up first thing in the morning and take them for a big, long run around the block. They're mostly always house trained, or at least will have fewer accidents to where you can coach them a little bit until they are completely house trained. They're also a little bit set in their ways, so they're usually, no sit and stay or treat motivated instead of having the hyperactivity that you need to get out all the time. You're a little more easier to train with, the food aspect for them.
Oh, that's something I hadn't thought about. So, Rusty, I like to put up yard decorations. What advice do you have regarding yard decorations and pets?
I just got to be mindful chiefly of anything they can get tangled up in as far as their collar, any kind of yard decorations or anything, fencing for that matter, extension cords, anything they can chew on, get tangled up in. And anything also with cats, with anything with tinsel. That is something...
That's bad for kitties.
It's extremely bad for kitties, potentially deadly. So you want to be mindful to, be it inside or outside, to keep tinsel away from the cats.
Is there any pitfalls to when people buy pets for holidays for gifts? Is there something that people should think about before they rush out and do that and then just...
So the main thing that you want to think about if you're even considering getting an animal for a gift is, does that person truly want that animal, that responsibility? You might be the nice person giving them a cute cuddly kitten or a new little puppy, but it's their responsibility after they open it, after they get the gift. They're the ones that are going to have to walk it, spend the time with it, train it. So you want to make sure the person you are thinking about getting an animal for actually has the time for that animal. Make sure it matches their lifestyle and make sure it's something they actually truly want and will devote their time to. We don't want to see pets come back to the shelter after the holiday season. That's our main thing is if you want to adopt for the holidays, make sure, it's not only a gift, it is your family's commitment to keep them after the holiday season.
Is that something you see a lot of people returning pets after, like a few months later and things like that?
It is. You see them not only a few months later, but even the very next week.
Oh, wow.
They make it 2-3 days in the home and somebody says, I got this as a gift and I just don't have the time for it. I tried, it's just I wasn't expecting to receive this present and here it is. I didn't even really want it. So that's another awful thing to think about is, the animal goes home for a week and then doesn't understand why it's being brought back to the shelter. So it's really just making sure who you're getting that gift for really wants the new furry friend in their household.
Wow.
I had no idea it was days after even.
We have some people even return 24 hours after.
Really?
Yeah.
What pets do people, I think you asked this question, is it usually like a puppy and then people are like, this puppy is just too much or?
It's usually the higher energy ones, the puppies, the little tiny kittens that maybe they don't get two kittens so they can play with each other. So now you have one little kitten who's demanding all of your time, or just one little puppy in the household to where it is a lot. It's a lot of training. It's a lot of time taking them out, walking them. It's a lot of time commitment. So it is maybe those are the highest ones that are returned just because of that time factor that you need for them.
And if someone's thinking about adopting a pet, I was just curious to know, what sorts of things that they don't think about, like maybe costs or supplies or just health maintenance. What could you talk about some of those things that people might not think about an initial investment in buying a pet?
The initial investment is a big one. It's not only the adoption fee, so whatever specials are being ran or anything like that, but it's also the monthly food cost for your animal. It's all of the initial supplies, so a crate, a bed, collars, leashes, toys can run up into the hundreds of dollars just for initial setup at home. So it's not just, come and get a pet and then it's, a couple $100s to be able to get that pet their own space within your household that they feel comfortable. And then that's a year-round expense. As they destroy toys, you have to buy new toys. As they destroy their bed gets old. Things have to be replaced. So it's not just a one-time and done fee thing.
Interesting. And could you talk about some of the other health maintenance, like spaying, neutering, and things that else that go out throughout the year?
Yeah, so please, please, please spay and neuter your pets. It really helps us at the shelter. But every animal that leaves our shelter is spayed or neutered, microchipped, county licensed, rabies vaccinated, and has internal and external parasite prevention as well. So you get the entire bundle when you adopt from us. So you'll be completely set at least for a month when you need to go see your veterinarian to get their own heartworm and flea and tick prevention.
Well, and I know too. I got a little kitty from the shelter 6 years ago, in like, I don't know, October or something. It wasn't too far before Christmas, and he was a little sick. And they even had told me, if this doesn't clear up or if it gets worse, bring him on back and we will help take care of it. And he did get worse just within a couple of days. And I brought him back, and they were very helpful, took care of him, gave me medicine for him and everything, and helped me get him better. So I was very appreciative of that, because he's just such a cute little guy.
Yeah.
I will ask this question, and either of you can answer it. What if I was someone who wanted to get a pet and was thinking about going to like a pet store?
I would highly recommend you come to us. Coming to us, you're helping the animals from our county. Some of these pet stores, the animals don't come from our county; they come from other states. In fact, so I'm one to support local. So I believe in taking care of the animals that we have here, and a lot of these animals. We have some animals that sit in adoptions 30, 80, 100 days that desperately need homes.
Wow.
So I would encourage anybody to come to the shelter first. If you don't necessarily find what you're looking for, that's fine. But at least you came to us first and you looked, because we have a lot of great dogs and a lot of great cats that really desperately need homes.
Can people view pets that are up for adoption online?
Yes, so our website, which is the pinellascounty.org/animal services, that's updated roughly every 15 minutes. So as soon as animals come up onto the adoption floor, they're posted right on that website, and as soon as they're adopted, they're taken right off. So that's a good website to go on and look at for all of our current adoptable animals.
That's awesome. And I know that at one point I had lost a cat, and I had come down and I had talked to you guys about, because I had way too many things for this cat. I had ladders and everything, and I'd come down and talk to you guys, and you guys said, well, yeah, we'd love it for our cat habitat. And so, speak to that and other things that you guys will accept in situations like that. What things could you use if people have things to donate?
Yeah, we'll always accept any type, toys, and ladders and things like that for our cat adoption area. Also, we accept towels, blankets, newspapers, litter pans, cat carriers. I mean, anything, dog crates, anything kind of animal related, we are happy to accept. Absolutely.
Now, what about volunteers? You guys use any volunteers?
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up. We can always use volunteers. There's always a need for dog walkers. There's never enough dog walkers, considering sometimes, right now, thankfully, our numbers that are at a good point in adoptions, but, typically in the summertime and 9 to 10 months out of the year, we have 80, upwards of 100 dogs in adoptions. So we always need dog walkers. And if you're not capable of dog walking, there's other tasks there's clerical tasks that can be completed within the facility. And also there's a need in my particular area that it's not a real popular one, but if anybody wants to volunteer, I can always use help in the kennels as far as cage sanitation, doing the dishes, cleaning the floors. Granted, it's not glamorous, but there's definitely always a need there for that.
Well, as far as dog walking, what a perfect way if you live in an environment and you can't have a dog. Now, that is like the best part. They could come, walk the dog, play with the dog, enjoy the dog, give him back to you and go home.
Yeah, we also have 3 beautiful play yards that the volunteers can let the dogs go and run and exercise. One of them is really large. It's split in half. It has trees. It's shaded. And the other 2 are getting ready to get new shade structures put in probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So, yeah, they can walk them. They can put them in the yards and just let them off their leash and exercise them, throw balls with them, and just have a blast.
That is such a cool. Now, how old do the volunteers have to be?
The minimum age is what, 16?
16 years
Yes.
for teens, and then we're always accepting adults as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
If I was a teen and I needed volunteer hours,
Exactly.
what a better, how cool is that to just be able to walk
It's a
dogs and
win-win
play
for
with
everybody.
dogs? It
Exactly.
is and it teaches them responsibility, and it might even let them know if they really want to do this full time before they take one home.
Very true.
I was curious to know, is there a certain time of year where you guys see an uptake in animals, an uptick in animals coming to the shelter, or is it pretty much a year-round sort of?
We pretty much get, 2 to 3 months kind of offish, I would say, as far as, granted, we take in animals every single day. That doesn't stop. But typically starting in the spring and the summer, it is through the roof. The numbers explode, especially with litters of kittens, puppies. It's extremely high.
I was also curious to know, I have a neighbor who has cats, and as you know, like one day I'll come and there's 2, and then a few weeks later there's
5.
and then it seems like just a few weeks after that there's more. If what would you say to people who might have these like cats in their neighborhoods and think that those might make good pets? What would you tell people? Should they probably bring them in if they wanted to keep them, to have them?
Well, yeah, keep in mind, just as there is for dogs, there's per se a leash law for cats. Cats have to be, technically by county ordinance, they should be left indoors.
Okay.
They're not allowed just to be walking around the front yard, and they have to be vaccinated and licensed just as the dogs do.
Wow.
Oh. That's good to know. I didn't know that.
Yep.
My cat is an indoor cat simply because too much city. I'm afraid he'll be a little fuzzy button in the roadway, so I'm going to keep him inside. So.
Wow.
That's interesting.
I also heard that Santa Claus comes to take. Could you tell us more about that for people who already have pets who want to get that picture with Santa? Yes.
So we usually do it on a Saturday or Sunday. We open for about 4 to 5 hours, and we'll do adoptions during that time, as well as open it to the general public. So if you want to bring your pet in, you're more than welcome. It'll be all advertised once we get it set up with Santa Claus. And you can bring your pet in, pay the small fee, and your picture is printed and framed for you right there, and you get to take it home with you.
Aww.
What a nice gift.
I couldn't see Max sitting in my lap long enough to do that, but it'd be a great idea.
It would be amazing. And what kind do you take all breeds of dogs and cats, or?
Yeah, any domesticated animal we take, cat or dog, regardless of breed, we take them. Yeah.
Now, what about having owned dogs throughout my life? I've always been really into the training them. I believe in the wolf pack theory and stuff. Do you have recommendations for where people can take their animals for training? Do you offer training classes through there? Tell us a little bit about that.
We do not offer training classes, but one of our close partners that we work with literally on a daily basis is the SPCA. They do offer training classes, and we typically refer them over to the SPCA.
So you have all the information there, because I know through experience that a lot of problems that you see with dogs, especially pit bulls, is lack of training and lack of knowing how to deal with a dog. And it's not necessarily the breed's fault, because I have seen pit bulls that are just sweethearts, would much rather just kiss you, not real interested in fighting and biting. As long as you're petting them and rubbing their tummy, they're just like rolling around all happy. And of course, I've seen ones that aren't as well behaved and wonderful to play with. And I always felt it was just a product of training. And I have to tell you, I all my life was deathly terrified of dogs. When I met my husband, he had dogs. We had a problem. Dogs knew I was afraid of them. And so I wound up going through human training for dogs. And finally, when I got a puppy and Akita, of all things to get, we went through training together, how to learn how to deal with a dog who was going to be a big dog, and, of course, the dog as well. And Akitas are another breed you heard a lot about being not so wonderful, but, they told us, they said, you want her to be friendly and lovable? You take her, sit in front of the grocery store. She's so cute and fuzzy and fluffy, and her little ears flop and little tail curls. Let people play with her, then she'll get socialized. And then, twice a week I went to training with her, taught her, to work on leash and off leash and obey me and everything. She was the biggest teddy bear. She was a 120-pound teddy bear. And I just loved that dog. I mean, we were inseparable, I could hug her and pet her all day long. She had the softest fur. And I know that she was so friendly because the people I got her from, they did training right there. They ran a big dog security firm as well as a kennel. And that was their big thing, was training is important. And it was an incredible training class for both of us to go through. So that's why I want people to understand it. Take the time when you get especially a puppy. They're so easy. They're so easy to train.
Definitely.
And it's a fun thing. We had 2 dogs at the time, and at night when I got home from work, I'd work with them in the front yard. And the neighbor kids they weren't allowed to come in the yard while I was doing it, but they would line up on the front walkway to watch me working with the dogs. And then when I was done, the dogs were allowed to go over and get hugs and pets. But it's a fun time for you and the dog, very relaxing when you get off work with your animal, play with your animal, keep your training up. So, I hope people remember that and go and do that with their puppies. It makes your animal more enjoyable if they're well behaved.
Yeah, you definitely get out what you put in.
So if someone's thinking about, I don't want to say impulse buying, but because it's a holiday, they're feeling nudged. Is there something they should just keep in mind before they go out and make this commitment? Or is there something you'd tell them?
Yeah, you definitely want to consider the person that you're potentially thinking about buying the animal for.
Even for yourself.
Yeah. Is this something that you're prepared to make the time investment in, the financial investment? And, is it, don't do an impulse buy. Yeah, would it be... once the gift is received or you bring it home, is it great for that moment? Yeah, but think about down the road. Think about, is this something that's really, that I'm prepared for, or the person I'm potentially buying it for is prepared for?
And my other part of that question is, let's say you are one of those people, you get a dog or you get a cat and you're like, I didn't want this. Do you have any, before bringing it into the shelter, do you have any advice of where else they might take them or what else they might do before they just throw their hands up and go, I don't want this?
Well, it all depends on the situation. If it's a behavioral issue and you like the animal, but it's at home chewing up the couch, chewing up my shoes. There's different training methods or practices you can pursue. There's crate training as well, which I did for my yellow lab because I went through a bunch of flip flops. But I learned that crate training is an excellent way to deal with behavioral issues, and it calms them and teaches them how to better behave. But there's always avenues to pursue versus just giving up on an animal. That's the last thing you want to do.
Exactly.
Well, let's say that we've thought all these things out. Where does someone go to adopt a pet?
Our place. Pinellas County Animal Services.
Where are you located?
We are at 12450 Almerton Road, and that's in Largo. We're right next door to Sunstar EMS and the Botanical Gardens.
And that's your only location?
Yes, ma'am.
And people need to get over there, check out those animals, and make sure they keep them.
Absolutely.
Make sure they keep them. Any other advice for anybody thinking about owning a pet or just, anything coming up since it's the holidays?
Make sure you have the time for them, and then adopt and don't shop.
Adopt and don't shop.
And be mindful of New Year's Eve with the fireworks. Keep the animals indoors. Don't have them out in the backyard. Make them their environment as comfortable as possible because it will get noisy.
Is that a time of year that you also see pets come in at fireworks time,
the 4th of July,
New
New Year's
July?
Eve? Absolutely, they come in every year.
And if someone does have a pet that may have escaped, would they look to you to find them? How would they do that?
Definitely, you can look online, but I always encourage folks to come in. So physically look for themselves so they can lay eyes on each and every dog we have in our facility to ensure their dog is or is not at our place.
And is there a number, if someone finds a pet or anything like that, is there a number that they can call or whatever to...
Yep. It's 727-582-2600.
Okay.
And then you can just follow the prompts and it'll take you to the right spot.
Wow.
Awesome.
There's a lot of services for animal services.
Absolutely.
It's such a good conversation and one that probably could be had more.
I think so.
I agree.
think so.
Well, we only have a couple moments left, so we'd like to thank Rusty Walker, Program Manager, and Casey Miller, Adoption Rescue Foster Coordinator with Pinellas County Animal Service. It was great talking about pets and getting them for the holidays and everything that comes with it.
Great conversation.
It's a great conversation. Thanks for listening to us on WRXB 1590 AM and Pinellas County TV. If you missed any part of this show or would like to view past shows, check us out on our website or YouTube. I'm Julian Hills.
I'm Carmen Lemberg.
Thanks for tuning in. Make it a great day and happy holidays.